Hello survivors, welcome to The Garage, the Wasteland's premier destination for know-hows about everything. Gotta build a tank and strike fear into the hearts of your opponents? Dying to know all about the game maps? Or do you wish to find the most useful weapon combos out there? If you're interested in this stuff, you're in the right place, because we're gonna talk about that today. You're watching the most detailed and useful show for every true Crossout fan. The Garage is meant for those players who wish to make the laws and not just follow the old ones. I hope you guys are ready. Put the pedal to the metal. In the previous episode, we covered the bridge, learned how to navigate it, and where to fight in order to stay on top of your competition. Today, we will go even deeper and learn some tricks about the old town. This map is one of those few narrow combat zones in the game. Its name says it all about its structure and layout. Welcome to the ruins of a small town which hosts nothing but rubble and a mad raider. The map is split into 4 key areas. There are 2 areas where the ruined buildings come packed, especially close, one in the west and one down south. The center of the map has a small overgrown square with a capture point on it. To the right of the square are ruins of a church, sticking out from the ground like jagged teeth. The teams begin the match in the opposite corners of the map, and will have to go through the narrow housing areas to get to each other. This is where the battle gets the bloodiest. The old town is a perfect map for light rides and close-range weapons, such as shotguns. A quick ride can easily rush out from cover, unload a whole drum of high-caliber shotgun shells, and vanish behind a corner in a flash. Hit-and-run tactics will work great for rides equipped with blades and explosive spears. If you have saws and drills, well, that's even better. Especially if you've got some armor, you can simply push your enemy into a wall and rip them apart. Sniper and missile rides will not like it here, to be frank. Their main advantage is to fire from afar, and here, it's a no-go. Now, the major aim of this map is to capture the point in the middle, which is risky business to say the least. The terrain around there is wide open and can be fired upon from 3 key approaches, from 2 town blocks and from the ruined church. The ruins provide some cover, but it is tricky to use right. All the enemy will have to do to counter the church ruins is to slightly change position and fire at your wide open flank. When that happens, relocating away from the church can prove tricky, since this entire sector is usually in someone else's crosshairs at all times. That's why all clashes in the middle turn into real meat grinders. Both teams usually fight hard here, shooting at the enemy who are all too keen to pay in kind. Rushing to the middle to be caught in crossfire is, well, it's a bad idea, okay? Wait for your team to make a consolidated move there first. If you're brave enough, you can try this. Outflank the enemy through one of the town blocks and try to damage as many enemy rides as you can while your own vehicle is still driving. Anything else here can be done with moderate to no success at all. In theory, you and your team can go on the defensive and dig in, hoping this positional war will turn in your favor. But if the round timer runs out and your team has fewer vehicles than the enemy, it will be a grandiose failure indeed. You know, trying to wait it out in the game where rounds last only 3 minutes is not a sound tactical solution. This week we decided to take a look at some of the tanks built by our players. I made it quite literally. We'll take a closer look at heavy tracked vehicles. It was no surprise given the creativity of Crossout players that we found plenty to choose from. Tank Reno FT. Author, Grand Theft Auto 5. Color, none. Today, Exhibit A is a copy of the Reno FT tank, the most successful tank design of World War I. It was the very same design that made popular the now common rotating turret, sloping armor, and the familiar tank layout overall. But alas, the user-made copy of the brave Frenchman is not as good. The speed is moderate, you can't help but want to ride with 2,700 power score to go a little faster. The original Reno came equipped with the Vector machine gun, which is copied to the game as well, but the author went further and added a fake gun barrel. Technically speaking, this is a controversial design choice. You can't really do that much in battle with a single machine gun, nor can this particular build ram particularly hard to destroy anything. The total of 7 points of energy leave very little room for weaponry. You cannot afford to get a second gun here. I mean, hey, a Reno tank with 2 cannons is an unforgivable historical mistake, we know. But would you care about all that when the bullets start whistling by, huh? The final verdict is a sad one. In its current state, this craft is only good for history buffs and historical tank enthusiasts. In all other regards, this little French tank requires a new generator and a better cabin. Then it might be made into a decent fighting vehicle for the wastes. The Behemoth V2. Author, Yum Yum Orange. Color, Digital Desert. Exhibit B is the Behemoth V2. Unlike the Reno, this is an original design and there's nothing quite like it in this world, sadly. 4 armored tracks provide ample mobility even for such a huge vehicle. The stats of this tank are a sight to behold, about 8,000 power score and almost 2,000 structure points. With such toughness, you can take pretty much any punishment and lift a tail about it. I bet that many real military engineers would love to build something like this in real life too. But there's a catch. The firepower is surprisingly lacking for such a big machine. 2 Caucasus machine guns and a ZIS-34 cannon would be fine for an average ride, but not for a Leviathan. Another major flaw is the central position of the turret. It makes the ride look like a tank, yes, but it obstructs the field of fire for other weapons. The guns on the sides can both fire at once only when the enemy is either directly ahead or right behind the ride. Trust me, not a whole lot of fellas would be so naive to stay in those fields of fire for too long. As a result, we have a fundamentally well-designed tank which sports firepower that could be improved. The machine guns can be replaced altogether or mounted elsewhere. The central turret limits your options for movement, to keep that in mind. But hey, the ride is tough as nails. Hey, we got a new section of the show. The garage has a special room in the back, an R&R room where you can just sit down, grab something to drink, and relax with other drivers. Some drivers leave their marks and even whole stories on the walls of the room. Most other people ignore them when they see them, but not us. Using this knowledge from the veterans of Crossout, we distilled some really useful know-hows for the newbies, especially some gun-related stuff and combat tactics too. Let's take a closer look, huh? Somewhere around here, we should find the mark of some crazy fellas that are into close combat fighting. If your soul is alight with desire to rip and tear, then you should probably look into the cabins and guns made by the lunatics. Get a light engine from them too, it will provide a solid boost to your ride's acceleration. The turbines are best acquired from the nomads. The ride itself should have some armor, but don't overdo it. You need a craft that's fast above all. Having too much mass will make your ride too slow to matter in close combat. Okay, time to talk about offensive capabilities. Probably the best combo for close combat is a shotgun and a melee weapon combo, such as a couple of explosive spears. They can be mounted on the hood of your ride, preferably at a distance from each other and in pairs of 2. If done right, you will only spend 2 spears at a time for 1 ram attack. Once you hit with those puppies, the enemy will feel it, trust me. Such aggressive gameplay is risky whichever way you look at it. 3 pairs of spears might make you 3 frags or not at all. Here's a way. Try to install a couple of augers instead. They deal less per second damage, but will last far longer in combat. To complement your augers, always have some close to mid-range guns. Shotguns are the best choice by far. The Spitfire is one of the best frontal-firing shotguns out there. You can protect them from the side with blades. The enemy will have to work hard to disarm your ride, and at the same time you will maintain good visibility. If you plan to use shotguns in pairs, take a good look at the Sledgehammer shotgun. High-speed gameplay close to the enemy is virtually impossible without a stealth module. Make sure to allocate all the resources required to get a chameleon module, which can render your ride transparent for a little while. As soon as you get close enough to the enemy, it's time to hit the target with your spears, augers, and a decent shotgun salvo up close. Then it's time to regroup, get your bearings, and prepare for another attack. Naturally, you cannot call this loadout truly universal, since every craft has a limit for parts. The drivers that are into going close up and personal, The guys that enjoy listening to metal scraping the metal will have to find a balance between installing more explosive spears or getting a new auger, or perhaps an extra shotgun. Some might want to make a change of pace following a few good rams and use their machine guns at medium range. Perhaps the difficulty of such gameplay style might make you consider an altogether different approach to warfare in the game. But the most promising loadout is the one we showed you today in the arsenal. A big thanks to all the fighters that risked their lives trying to discover this valuable knowledge. Finally, it's about damn time to answer some questions from you fellas. Do structure points increase the crash damage of my craft? Crash damage depends on two factors, speed and mass. Therefore, the heavier the ride is, the more damage it is going to deal when it hits an enemy. Can you add a free building mode with all parts available just to goof around? We're not planning to add this kind of mode into the game. We want to keep Crossout a solid world where all aspects are connected to each other. You have to master all three components of the motto, craft, ride, and destroy, in order to survive in the post-apocalyptic world of Crossout. This is all we have time for today. Expect to hear more from me in 1 week. The best is yet to come, folks. Be seeing ya.